Greetings and welcome to another Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team video. Today I'm going over the Warhammer World December Tournament Report, where I'll be covering my experience at the event and just everything that happened as well. But before we get into things, please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of the video and the event as a whole. Would you be interested in going? That kind of thing. And remember, if you are interested, I have a Discord you can check out in the episode description below, as well as a Patreon if you want to give me some more support. So yeah, today I'm going over the Warhammer World Tournament that just happened at, well, Warhammer World. And as you know, well, keen viewers may have seen, investing a rather nice bit of facial hair. It's taken a while, you know, considering this is my last video, well, it should be my last video before Christmas. I thought I'd get into the, get into the feel of it. People said I couldn't grow facial hair. Well, what do they know? Yeah, look at this, magnificent. So for this event, one of the main issues for the event was train strikes, which is fine. I support the strikers. But there were no trains, so I took a coach up for the first time. And then the snow. So if you don't know, Britain doesn't like snow. It just stops everything. So with the double whammy, I was worried this tournament wouldn't even go ahead. But it did, thankfully, because it reminded me of the first Warhammer World tournament for Warhammer Underworlds, where the snow almost stopped it. But it still went ahead fine. So if you're not aware of Warhammer World events, they use fixed boards in terms of they have Octarius boards, their own Verticus boards, then they have Chownaf, and then they also have Nakmund and Morok. So all these boards have their own rules based on what they come with. So they are quite dense as well. One novel thing is don't use doors, which changes things as well, unless the map has doors, so it's basically just Chownaf. But it was their biggest event, 70 players. Well, 70 tickets sold, 66 turned up, which is actually really good considering everything that was happening, that only having 4 drops. For Kill Team selection, I was originally thinking about Pathfinders, but I'm like, you know what? I've won a lot with Pathfinders. I think I won 4 tournaments this year, and then like a few second places with Pathfinders. And it's just, so with Warhammer World events, they go wins, and then the next tiebreaker is TAC-OP scored. So in this 4-round event or longer, it's really hard to score 6 TAC-OPs consistently every round with Pathfinders. Probably going to score 5 at least, 4 to 5 guaranteed. But when there's going to be 4 undefeated players, I was like, you know what? I'm kind of a bit bored of playing Pathfinders at the moment. I'm sure the balanced data slate is going to change them in some way. So I was actually thinking about running Galapox Infected. So I actually spoke to Orion, who won the US Open with them, and like we played a few times, and he gave me all like this advice and his knowledge. And I was like, okay, this is good. I couldn't get enough practice games in, so I was like, okay, I'll test them at Warhammer World. Played on the Warhammer World maps, and I was like, yeah, no, this ain't gonna work. Like, because there's no doors and there's a lot of terrain in the way, Galapox struggled to get in. To the point where I was playing a practice game against Commandos and 2 Nightmare Hulks died before they reached combat, and I barely won that game. And I was like, if I'm barely beating Commandos, this is not good. Not good. So I'd also brought my Harlequins in with me. I didn't have space for my Pathfinders, and I probably should have brought my Pathfinders, but I decided to bring my Harlequins instead, because I was like, you know, I'm comfortable playing Harlequins into anyone. They're really, because I've been playing them for a long time, they're really easy for me to pick up and play. So I went with them. And for my roster, it does confuse people a bit. So I've only got 1 lead player, Power Weapon and Shuriken Pistol. Then it comes to my players. So I have 5 guys with blades. I have 7 guys with kisses. So kisses are 3/7 damage. And the reason I have 7 is in case I run into novitiates. Because Novitiates, I don't take the Death Jester because it's a waste, doesn't get any shots, doesn't contribute to the game. And having 7 players with, well, just having 7 kisses, well, like 6 kisses, you know what I mean? It just messes up people, especially that matchup, because you can just, you can just maximize charge, kill, shoot, that kind of thing. And then I have 5 guys with embraces. So that's the rending ones in case I run into Legionary Nurgle, because against Legionary Nurgle, you're -1 damage. So with the rending gloves, you get more crits, right? So you get, it's more likely you're going to do kills because you need more crits. And then I also have one Embrace, the one with the brutal, because if I give that an equipment, it gets Reap 1, but more importantly, Lethal 5 up. And the reason I take that is in case I run into Wormblade. So I have that one upgraded, as well as one rending guy, in case I run into the Locust. Because if I have Epic active, if I don't roll a crit with the rending glove, I've got a crit and a hit, so I'll kill a Locust with Murderous Entrance. And then if I'm running the Brutal one with Lethal 5 up, I have more chances to roll multiple crits. Because basically, that's my tech, so that's why I have one guy with a Brutal glove. But that was pretty much it for kill team selection. Yeah, that's why I used Void's Dancer Troop and I didn't use Galloppox Infected, even though I've painted them up, so I'll post a picture here. And then I didn't use my Pathfinders. I was also terrified of going, you know, if I run Galloppox, because Warhammer World uses all the missions, 1 to 9, I am very, very sure I would run into Master of the Terminals and just auto lose with Galloppox. So going into round 1, I was playing on Octarius, Master of the Terminals. Now, there's one caveat I have with my Void Dancer Troop. The biggest problem I had with Void Dancer Troop is Intercession. And then, like, me and the other Void Dancer Troops kind of figured out what to do in that matchup, where you basically take 3 kisses and you upgrade them so they go to 4-7, which basically makes them 4-6. So if you get a crit and 4 hits or whatever, crit and 3 hits, you can charge Murderous Entrance, do 10 damage, and then the next hit will kill. So you effectively kill a Marine in 2 hits. And that kind of solved the matchup. But I hadn't played it. It was all theoretical, right? And then I was like, okay, Intercession. And I was like, it's Intercession. So I'll bring up a picture of the board now. Yeah, unfortunately, I was the defender. So, I also forgot to take a picture of round 1. Speaking more about event prep, I had none, obviously, because I was still recovering from COVID. But I knew the matchup kind of well, in theory-wise. So this guy was running methodical, durable and rapid. Rapid and durable. And basically, he only got 2 points turning point 1 because he couldn't move up to objective 3. Because if he did, he knew he would have lost a Marine because of the way I held back, because I just flew over everything. And it was a very tight game. It's just weird because my Death Jester either did 4 wounds or nothing, because he either rolled 4 hits. Oh no, he only ever rolled 3 hits all the time. And basically, it depended on whether my opponent failed 1 dice roll or 2. And every time he failed a second dice roll, he saved it, or it bounced off. Like, Death Jester was just horrible. But the biggest thing, so I picked Recon. So I picked Triangulate, Vantage, and Plant Signal Beacon. So turning point 2, I actually had a guy on the middle tower, turning point 3, and I was like, okay, you can see that, like, there was an Assault Intercessor nearby, and I was like, okay, delayed. And basically, because I was so flustered in myself, I forgot to move him out in time, because he was basically going to charge the guy on the top building, kill him, and then he would set up Vantage and then Plant Signal Beacon. Because I forgot all that, he charged it and died. And I was like, oh no, now I can't score Vantage or Plant Signal Beacon. I only have 1 for Vantage. So it's very close. And it basically, I only won by 1 point. And then I had only scored 1 on Triangulate and 1 on Vantage. And when I was at that, I was like, yeah, no chance I'm going to win the event now. It was still a really fun game. Like I really like this guy's Black Templars. I was just like, yep, 4 undefeated players, me only getting 2 tackle points, game over. I was still like going to play, of course, but I was like, yeah, I kind of messed that up myself, because basically that Harlequin would have killed that Intercessor on the top. That would have secured me the top flank. So then one of my Harlequins would have set up to score Vantage, and then that Harlequin would have set up to score Plant Signal Beacon. So a bit disappointing, but you know, you make these mistakes, and it was still a fun game. So going into round 2, I was like, you know, okay, messed up a bit, but you know, I'm on Morok. I like Morok. Morok's a good board. I wonder, I actually do really like Morok, and I was like, I wonder what I'm going to play. It's Domination, Intercession again. So this guy was running Durable and Methodical. So he was -1 crit damage and immune to being injured. So then basically, once again, I picked to be the defender, and I picked the left side. So my plan was just to move up and then last activation scroll the mid and just force contesting. Unfortunately, the guy hadn't played on Morok before, I believed, and he basically got blocked in by his own bodies. So he scored 5 and 3, and then last activation, I just sent a guy onto the midpoint. And I was like, yeah, you know what? if I lose initiative, that guy dies, but now I'm ahead on the primary. Forces you into engage into the open, where I had like a fusion pistol and a Neuro pistol nearby, so and my leader, so I could just jump out and punish and win that way. And the weird thing was he gave me priority on turning point 2. So I was like, oh okay then. So I charged into his grenadier and knocked him down to 4 wounds, doing 6, doing a crit. Then I did 4 damage as the curtain falls to fall back onto 3, because my tac ops were faction tac op 3, so Grand Act, and then it was Overrun and Plant Signal Beacon. And then basically, because he allowed me to push in, he then sent an Assault Intercessor to claim the midpoint. Then I just deleted him and then claimed it back. And then while pushing up to score Overrun, then I just overwhelmed him. He had 1 guy left at the end of the game, but I'd planted Plant Signal Beacon at the end of turning point 3 behind his comm tower. And then at the end, I only had Neuro Disruptor, Leader, Psyker, and Death Jester. And I got max on the primary at the end of the game, and max on the secondary. Well, not max. I got 4 points on the primary turning point 4, and I maxed my tac ops. So that it was a fun game. Because even when I had to engage, my guy just died. Like he's like, okay, I can't charge you. I'll walk into your face, shoot my pistol. It's like dead. I was like, oh yeah, bolt pistols is still scary. So that was fun. And my only criticism with the Warhammer World Morok boards is they basically don't need the second comms tower and one of the walls, because my Morok is basically the Morok box with another hab I've split into half. So I think that's fine for Morok. I think there's a little bit too much terrain on their Morok, but I still like it. For round 3, I was up against a lovely Spanish player using Wormblade. I was on table 3 or 4. I was table 3, and we were playing Secure Archaeotech. So Wormblade is really tough into Void Dancers. One of the things I didn't want to face was Wormblade, because it's like any kill team with more than 10 operatives is quite struggling for Void Dancer troops unless they're veteran guardsmen. So I was like, this map is going to be quite difficult, but I know how to play if I play quite safely and then slowly move up. Like the trap is over engaging turning point 1 and then getting punished turning point 1 by their guys dropping in, that kind of thing. So turning point 1, I won defender. I picked the bottom left corner, played very defensively, actually didn't move up a lot. And then I won initiative and I realized, oh my gosh, because he disengaged 2 objectives and was controlling the 2 central ones. And I was like, oh my gosh, if I give him initiative, he's going to run, throw a frag grenade and hit like 4 Harlequins. I can't do that. So I sacrificed a Harlequin to kill a guy on the point and lost some guys, but I was like, so this guy's really good. And I was like, if we stalemate, eventually he's just going to win because I don't have the bodies to contest. Because by the time I whittle everyone away, he's going to have too many points. So I was like, there's this thing about in Kill Team where you can be very predictable. Like you can do the predictable things, that was guaranteed. And then I was like, you know what, I need to take the risks, because he's a very good player. He sees things the same way. If I want to make a foothold to win this game, I need to do risky moves that will force him out, and then I can punish and just hope. Because if I stalemate it and do what I should do, I'm just going to lose anyway. So I might as well take a risk. So my tac ops were faction tac op 1, faction tac op 3, and Rub and Ransack, which I thought was perfect for me. I had gone the shooty say death, and basically turning point 2, end of turning point 2, I went to contest objective 1 because I just moved on to there. And I was like, the only way you can contest it now is to bring his Kellamorph, move and dash, and shoot my guy. But then his Kellamorph is basically dead. Or he brings like his leader through. Brought his leader through the door. Okay, this is what I expected. Then he rolled crit hit and two twos, and I was like, I can reroll both. And then it was like crit, hit, and I was like, okay, I've got prismatic blur, failed everything. I was like, okay. Death Jester moved out punished and then got shot to death as well. But I was like, that's okay. Then turning point 3, I won initiative. I had my melter on objective 1, and I was like, this is perfect. I switched to epic. If I get 2 hits on his Kellamorph, that Kellamorph is dead. And then I can kill one of his gunners. He's only got 1 normal guy with a shotgun in that top left flank, so I can secure that, and I can actually force engagements because most of his stuff is situated in the mid and to the bottom right. I rolled a hit, 1, 2, 2, 2, and a 2. So it's balanced. It's okay. I have 1 command point left. I'll get a hit, and then I can do Murder Sentence and unlock my Sadef and all of that. Rerolled that 2 into a 1. And I was like, that's actually cost me the game. Because now even if my only choice is now to either guarantee fallback, gamble to spend a CP to a reroll, but the problem is he'd rolled 2 hits, so there was no point. So I hit him for 5 and fell back. And that kind of cost me the game. Because basically I needed to kill the Kelemorph, kill that gunner, and it would have forced massive engagements and pulled him away. But I was playing risky, right? It was the only thing I could do. One cheeky thing I did is, because I had 3 victory points, on my TAC ops. I was like, okay, look, I've lost. All I can do is max TAC ops and run away. So I was like, I've got 3 on the TAC ops, and then I had 1 initiative for turning point 4. I was like, I'll score a loot and salvage, rob and ransack. And then he was like, oh, my Kelemorph is within blue of you. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm just going to run away 9 inches so you can't kill me. And it turned out, why did you max sabotage? He had taken interloper and then capture hostage and infiltrate. So he couldn't score capture hostage and infiltrate because I'd ran away. And interloper, he thought my kill zone edge was the long way at the bottom, but it was actually my one on the left hand side. So he only scored 2 on the TAC ops, whereas I got 3. So I was like, it was still a good game. It was fun. Like we played it was really close, and I was like, I did gamble, but I kind of expected it to go that way, if you know what I mean. Like if I had just played super safe, I would have lost anyway. It would have been a closer loss, but sometimes you need to take those gambles. Because as I said, if those gambles paid off, like if his leader fluffed and I survived, I'd have been ahead on the primary. And then if I had gotten that kill there, I would have mopped up. So my plan was there, just relied on dice. So it was like, when he saw that, he just patted me on the shoulder. He was like, that sucks. And I was like, yep. But it was still a really fun game. I love playing Spanish guys. They're so cool. And his kill team was amazingly painted. Then for round 4, I was playing Seize Ground on Vertigus. And I was like, okay, played Intercession, Wormblade. Would like to play someone new. Played someone new, and they were using Intercession. This time, it was Durable and Jeweler, right? So if he rolls a crit, he can parry 1 additional normal strike. So I picked Defender, picked the bomb. We both picked Dash. So I dashed my Death Jester up to that building. He dashed someone behind the container. Let me go first. We stalemated turning point 1. I mean, yeah, as you expect. Turning point 2, I won initiative, and I was like, okay, Fusion, fly over, fusioned him to death. He fluffed his damage rolls because I had popped Prismatic Blur, and I flew back. I was like, dead Marine. And then he pulled back a guy from the top right objective. So then I just moved up to claim that, and I got 4 on the primary. Death Jester just continued to do nothing and plink stuff, like taking a wound of stuff. And it was actually a very close game back and forth. He had never played into Void Dancer Troop before, but I was also rolling horribly in combat. Like I was rolling great saves, but my shooting and combat was horrible. I was like, okay, I've got kisses. I've got 5 dice. Even if I don't roll a crit, I'm going to roll some hits. Every attack was like 2 hits in combat, just 2 strikes for 4 damage. And I was like, oh my gosh. I had like guys charge in and die. And then on turning point 3, he actually messed up when I charged his Marine that fell back. He parried me out to keep me alive because he couldn't kill me. And instead of falling back and shoot me, he fought me, rolled nothing, basically, then fell back. So I was like, oh, now I've just completely scored that. And I managed to whittle away a few more guys. I gamble charged into his Grenadier, who had 5 wounds left, because I'd like shot everything into him. And I was like, I'm out of command points. It's turning point 3. If I don't kill him with a crit, because if I know in my luck, there's a strong chance he could like roll multiple crits and parry me out and die while I charge him. So I was like, if I don't roll a crit, I can't complete Faction TAC Op 3 in turning point 3. Luckily, I rolled 4 crits, and I was like, oh, there we go. That's where all these crits were all tournament. And then by the end of the game, because he had fallen back to earlier in the game when he pushed forward, he didn't have enough to actually push forward. So basically, I managed to max all my attack ops apart from retrieval. So I scored 1 on retrieval, put a plant signal beacon on it, and max scored faction attack op 3. And yeah, won that one as well, partly because I could just fly over everything. So for the tournament overall, I actually placed 12th out of 66 players, which was confusing to me. I didn't think I would place that high. I thought I was going to place like 20th or something, or 30th, and I was looking like, I'm not anywhere in these. And then I was like, I'm somehow in 12th. But the top 8, let me bring that up now. So in 8th, we had Corsairs with Andrew Reaver. 7, we had Mr. Hunt from London with Imperial Navy Breaches. 6, we had Guy from London with Hunterclade. Then we had Ace in 5th with Star Striders, who I think had the highest attack op scoring in the tournament, I believe. No, he's tied for that. Then we had Miguel with Intercession. Rodrigo, the guy who beat me, with Wormblade. And then we have Mark, who had Pathfinders from London as well, who came second, who slayed 2 Spanish players. And then Carlos, the great Carlos. Not only did he come first with Preachers, he also won most sporting player. Like, if you've ever played him, he's a great dude. Like, Carlos is so much fun. Like, all the Spanish guys are so nice. And Carlos is great, man. He totally deserved that win. Amazing. Like, I love the Spanish guys. Ever since I properly met them at the US Open, I just love them. They're so cool. But overall, yeah, you know what? It's like, I know people are going to say like, oh, you should have brought Pathfinders to win it, like, or, you know, had a chance to win it. But I was like, yeah, you know, if I brought Pathfinders, probably would have maxed turning like game 1, because I just would have gone faction attack op 1, free, and plant signal beacon, which on these boards would have been very easy for me to do, especially against Intercession. But then it would have been very different after round 1. So who knows what would have happened. And considering I'm still making mistakes, because still a bit rusty because of, you know, being sick. But, you know, that's why I was going like, at least with Harlequins, you have that room to make more errors, whereas Pathfinders, you can't really make mistakes. Because after round 1, you just get punished too hard. And even against Intercession, if you make too many, even a few mistakes, they'll wipe out your kill team. So you have to be careful of Pathfinders. But it's still really fun. It was great meeting everyone as well. Like, the events team are so much fun. Elliot, the game designer, was there judging. He was great. Like, I met so many people, like Glass. Like, people came up to me saying, like, thanks and everything about the channel. That was great. That was really nice. I still find it weird. I've been doing this channel, like, this thing for like 5 years now. And the fame is really weird still. You just never expected people will, like, want to take photos and stuff. It's just how it is. But I had a really fun time. And the event was great. Like, as I said, I think the only downside I would say is just the lunch a bit. And how do you describe it? Like, I was thinking maybe the Vertigus board having doors to differentiate a bit between Vertigus and Noctarius, but it was still really fine. I think I always prefer the Warhammer World boards. That's the way we play at home for me and with the channel. Like, that's what we want to show, because it's hard. It's not as easy to move around, although the boards were a little bit more advantageous towards shooting teams this time, whereas last time they were a bit more advantageous to melee teams, if that makes sense. So I like how they're changing it up a bit, and I do prefer how Warhammer World has random tables with all the missions, although I would really like them to drop Master the Terminals and Consecration, because I don't like those missions. But overall, it was a really good event, and as I said, you'll never have a bad time at a Warhammer World event. They gave us a ton of swag. Like, I got dog tag, kill team dog tags, dice, and card sleeves, even though they won't really fit the new tac ops. But that was really great. They didn't have to do that. It was so much fun. Like, everyone was so cool at the event. Everyone had a really good time. It was so good, so much fun. So I always recommend Warhammer World events, especially if you've never been before. And for Kill Team, that's great. Like, they're going to do more events coming forward. Like, they're going to the narrative. They're doing a narrative event, which I'm going to. They're going to do more 2-day events. They've got Warhammer Fest coming up. And, like, they're going to do more, like, Into the Dark events as well. Like, full Into the Dark events. I believe that's the plan. But it's just cool. So if you can go. I'd highly recommend it. But that's pretty much it for me today. Please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of this video. do you think, like, what do you think about the Warhammer World events, and what do you think of the tournament overall? Remember, I've got a Discord you can check out in the episode description below, as well as a Patreon if you want to give me some more support, and I'll quickly shout out my patrons. So for my adepts of the crit, I have Samari, Sam, Robin, Ninja Lee 83, Kenzie, John Thomas, Captain Murder, Dave, Daniel, Average Joe 27, and Adzik. And then for my veterans of the crit, I have Samja. So thank you so much. Your support really means a lot to me, helps support the channel. So thank you so much. But that's pretty much it for me today, and for Christmas, I give you the gift of my beard and my voice, my lovely voice. It's back. So nice to be back. But yeah, that's pretty much it for now. I need to do more practice. I've got this was the last event with the normal tac ops, so we got the new tac ops to go forward. I need to do more of that. Hopefully a balanced data slate has either dropped before this video or after. Who knows what will happen. It's all up in the air. And yeah, the only thing I didn't do a video vlog, which I planned to. The thing is you can't record on Warhammer World premises. And the other thing is, I was on the coach for a long time. Going up, the coach was fine. It only took like 2.5 hours instead of 3.5. Going back was like 3.5 hours, 4 hours. Horrible. I watched Into the Spider-Verse. I was like, this is great. And then I just lost my mind. I was just like, it's just a coach, never-ending coach. But anyway, lots to come in the new year. I'm going to shake up the channel a little bit in terms of Patreon content and that kind of stuff. You'll see it. You'll see it when I get the changes done, as long as I work them through. Might keep the beard. I feel it does well. Makes me more mature, you know. I didn't wear the hat because I couldn't find it, but also it'd be too ridiculous. Gotta keep some sanity. But remember, until next time, may you always roll crits and have a happy Christmas and a happy new year full of crits. Critmas. Copyrighted by me. Can you roll a crit?